In a quiet suburban neighborhood, nothing ever seemed out of place. Underneath a blanket of stars, families shared bedtime stories, and children played tag in the mild evening air. In one of the homes, a reclusive man named Frank sat alone, engrossed in a novel by the dim light of a dusty lamp. His cozy house, adorned with old memories and pictures, held a darker atmosphere, as if the walls whispered secrets he couldn't quite grasp. As time passed, the tranquility around him began to shatter. The neighborhood clock struck midnight when he heard its low, hushed whisper that had no origin. Shadows flickered against his window. A fading childhood memory bubbled to the surface, something from long ago, buried deeply within his psyche. The fear of the unknown gnawed at him, echoing the truths he avoided. Solitude can breed darkness, and darkness can consume. Friends tried to reach out, but Frank pushed them away. Police officer Mayfield, his only bridge to the outside world, had been investigating strange incidents in their once peaceful area. The whispers atop the stroll of blue-guard gnomes and the eerie stillness of the trees made the air feel thick, suffocating, like a promise of impending doom afar. Then it happened. The neighborhood felt the loss when Mrs. Henderson, a sweet old lady known for her apple pie, went missing. People whispered her name and fear skulked through their backyards. Frank found himself nervously clutching his novel, his heart racing each time he heard the chilling wind rustle through the trees, almost as if it spoke her name. With strange sounds invading his nights, paranoia seeped in. Perhaps he was the next victim. And his recurring nightmares encountered a grotesque figure obscured by darkness, always lurking just outside his line of sight. One night, barking erupted from his front porch. A matted dog, eyes wild and terrified, stood there, a warning that something was terribly wrong. Frank found a note stuck upon his door, like a malicious spider's web. "Stay silent, or you will be next." He hesitated to contact Mayfield, fearing the laugh that might follow. What could he say? Days passed, and Frank slipped into deep contemplation and fear. And should he confront this nightmare, or bury himself deeper into isolation? Flashbacks plagued him, vowing to protect a school friend from a terrible act years before, feeling the sting of betrayal, and locking himself away from the world. His sanctuary turned prison. Shadows taunted him, proving that stillness could lead to one's doom. One evening, the tension gripped him tight as he ventured out, desperate for answers. The walls of his home had become illusory, mimicking the warming embrace he once felt. They twisted, flickered with shadows that danced at the corner of his vision like predators stalking prey. The phone chimed, yet each ring brought silence. Was he simply going mad? He found a deserted resort on a snowy mountain, an abandoned sanctuary filled with echoes of laughter from a time long gone. Perhaps there he could find refuge. But inside, the air thickened with despair, trapping him as if he were its prey. Something cursed lingered, tainting his surroundings. The remnants of what was forgotten rattled in the wind. Screams faded beyond the cracked walls. Cryptic evidence revealed this stalker's anguish, a man obsessed, knowing his darkest secrets. Days morphed into frantic weeks, punctuated by terror, and Frank barely survived their deluge until the darkness found him again, more tangible than ever. He was cornered, breathless, and the stalker, once a mere whisper, now stood before him, mirroring his past fears. It wasn't just someone he didn't know. It was a part of him. The silhouette watching his every move had come to claim its own. All hope faltered, leaving him grappling with despair, chased relentlessly. He found himself in a quagmire. The house had become a labyrinth of night-misty entity, revealing itself as his own personification of guilt. All his fears materializing, painted acrid by betrayal, played inside his skull. Frank felt every ounce of terror curling within him, like a din of laughter hidden just outside the reach of comprehension. Was he forever to stay shackled by this ethereal prison? Duty pressed upon him. When the moments of fleeting courage rippled, he contacted Mayfield, sharing urgent truths forged in hysteria. His tale now validated, but with crimson shadows stretching wide, the stalker revealed his identity. and Frank realized guilt had a way of spawning monsters within the echoes of life. Stepping back into his home that reeked of smoke and shadows, he found the source of his affliction in the basement beneath the stairs. A hidden door beckoned, amid whispers, leading into darkness where his past converged. It opened to a refuge of secrets, disembodied laughter and stifled cries, trapped among cracked mirrors, revealing twisted forms of him. And in a struggle between light and dark, Frank confronted the embodiment of his deepest fears. The chilling truth washed over him. The haunt was created by him, always looming throughout his life, a manifestation of regret. It had fed on his despair and woven tightly around him. Relentless now, but he would not succumb any longer. With a holler of defiance, he charged forward, shattering the malevolent spell that clung like an unwanted shadow. The energy erupted, bolts of lightning splintering around him, as the haunting chaos surrendered to silence. He reclaimed his refuge, finally free from the shackles of despair that had imprisoned him. The stalker, now extinguished, revealed its true self, an apparition of fear, gone from the realm of reality. Peace returned with each breath he took, and with it came a new sense of strength. He had battled with demons and emerged victorious. Frank stood by the window, gazing out at the suburban streets and press, steeped in terror, but now returning to jest and laughter. The neighborhood looked once more like a sanctuary. Yet he knew the horror of solitude, which lingered like an echo in the distance. Today, Frank steeled himself, tapped the familiar melody of normal side, but was wiser. The cost of fearing the unknown only leads into shadows that consume. Today he was whole again,